Hi guys, this is going to be my 28-week update. Excuse me, 28-week update. Okay. I'm planning on making this short, but I don't know how short it's going to end up being. So I'm exactly 28 weeks today. Let's see, some of my symptoms. I've had a lot more movement. I've been able to feel the baby a lot more, and it's mostly like, I think like knees and elbows and hands and things like that, because it's smaller things. I've got a lot more stretching and really feel it a lot more in my stomach. And I usually feel the most stretching like in the evenings, when usually that's when you're bigger anyway, from, you know, just your muscles, you know, stretching all day. Let's see. Contractions. Let's see, when was it? I guess it was Tuesday night. I was making dinner, and I decided to make a no-bake cheesecake. It sounded really good to me. So I was making that instead of using like a hand mixer. I was using a whisk. So I'm like holding the bowl and whisking, you know, this stuff. And started making my stomach hurt, of course. You end up using a lot of your stomach muscles when you know, even do things like that. So probably a couple hours later, I started, you know, noticing a lot of Braxton Hicks, and it didn't hurt or anything at first. And then they started to get real crampy feeling, and I got my little, see, on my phone. Let's see if I can show you real quick. I have this app. It's called Baby Bump. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. Let's see if you can see it. And right there, see, it says contractions. You have a kick counter, and then you have contraction. Let me see. If you hit contractions, and it brings up a screen like this. And when you start to get a contraction, you hit start, and then when it ends, it'll say you hit start, and then as soon as it stops, then you hit stop. And it actually, let me see, has the start time, the duration, how long your contraction lasted, and like how far apart your contractions are. So I got that out, and I started using that. And I'd get some that were like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Some were like 5 minutes, and I'd get one like 15 minutes later, and then another one might be 2 minutes later. So I thought, well, maybe it's just, you know, from all the stuff I'd been doing that day, because I'd been cleaning and doing a bunch of stuff that I don't do every day, but because I'm trying to do some spring cleaning, you know. So I was doing a little bit extra compared to what I usually do. And so I went to bed, and they had stopped through the night, and I woke up and got my kids ready for school, and still didn't have any. And then probably about 9, they started, like 2 minutes for a while, and then they'd go like 5, and I just kept putting off calling the doctor, because I thought it was nothing. So I was just kind of like laying around all day on the couch, you know, on my side, and taking in fluids, so that maybe I was dehydrated. So I did that, and that didn't help. And then they kind of quit. So, we had dinner, and I got ready for church. And I went to church, and probably about a half hour before I went to church, I noticed a few of them. But, you know, just thought, well, I'll just be at church sitting anyway, so I should be fine. So I went to church, and I started getting them again, and it was probably like 8 o'clock. The services were almost over, but I got up and left because I got my phone out and hit the contraction thing to see how close they were, and they were hitting every 2.5 minutes, and they were, you know, pretty crampy feeling. So I got home and kind of laid around for a couple minutes, and they were still, you know, like 2 minutes apart. So I called the doctor, and, you know, he asked me, is this your first? Because most first-time moms, you know, might mistake some Braxton Hicks with, you know, labor pains. And I told him no, it was my 5th, so he said, okay, well, you kind of know, you know, when it's a little bit more than that. And I was getting, like, when I would get them, I would get, like, this tightening and this pain in my hip area, and the muscles right there. And even sometimes I would get them in my lower back. I would start getting the cramping and the tightening in my lower back. So I knew it was more than just, you know, Braxton Hicks. So he asked me some questions, I answered, and he said he felt more comfortable with me going to the hospital and having it checked out than me feel like it's nothing and it actually turned out to be something. Especially since it was my 5th one and I was, you know, kind of concerned about it. So I went to the hospital, and they hooked me up to the monitor, and the baby was like non-stop kicking after they put that on. I don't think he liked it. And they had to tighten it down and tighten the one that monitors your contractions. And my pulse was up, and they asked me if, you know, I was nervous, which I was fine until they said they were going to give me a catheter, because they do that whenever they suspect preterm labor. And I really didn't want that. I've never had one, and I really didn't want to go through that. So my heart rate was like 114, and so they had to like put this washcloth under one side of the monitor that picks up the heart rate, and so they could pick up his instead of mine, because it was picking up mine if it was just laying flat. So they had to have it tilted, and it's kind of crazy. But they did an exam, and I wasn't dilated, and I hadn't thinned out any. Everything was nice and thick, and everything looked good. She said the baby and everything was up high where it should be. So it's not like the baby was dropping or anything. So that was good. And they monitored my contractions, and I was having them like every 2.5 minutes. But they weren't real strong. So they said it looked more like irritability in the uterus, but they didn't know what was causing it. And they thought maybe it was like a urinary tract infection or something like that. So that's one of the reasons they were going to do catheter, but I told them I really didn't want it. And the doctor, which the nurse told me later on, it was unusual for the doctor to even give me the option of just doing a clean catch where, you know, you just pee in a cup. So you have to like start to pee and let the first little bit go into the toilet, and then put the cup under there and just catch a certain amount, and then you have to stop, or, you know, take the cup out of the stream before you're finished, because they don't want the last part either. So I was able to do that, and they told me I could get dressed because, I don't know, the doctor that was in there said it. I heard her on the phone with my doctor, and she told him that it didn't seem like I was too concerned about it, which I was, but I wasn't going to get myself worked up and everything because I didn't know, if it was anything bad, and it would have probably only made things worse to get, all worked up. And I mean, it put me more at ease when they told me I wasn't dilated or anything. So that was good. So that, helped me a little bit. And plus, I looked at it this way. If, I was in preterm labor and I was going to have him, his chances of survival were really, really good. And I was at a hospital that was the best place to be if I had a preterm, premature baby. And also I just put it in God's hands because I know whatever happened would be, His will, and I mean, you just gotta accept that and trust Him that, He's gonna see you through whatever He brings you to. And that's just the way I looked at it. And I know some people don't, even they have, faith that God will help them, but sometimes just fear, and anxiousness will take over that. But I just tried to remember that. And I had people praying for me at church. And so, I knew whatever happened that God was going to take care of me and take care of the baby. So, I continued to have them yesterday, and I was having some today. So they just told me to get rest and to take in lots of fluids, and if my contractions got worse, to call the doctor back. And they gave me a list of different things, when to call, if I had different things go on. So I've been getting a lot of rest, and I haven't gotten as many today. I haven't had any for probably 2 hours now, so that's good. So hopefully they stop and they don't come back until 27 weeks, and, when it's safe. Let's see what else. I have a doctor's appointment Monday, so I'll talk with him and see what he says, and hopefully the contractions completely stop and I don't have those anymore. I do have a baby shower. My friend's going to throw a baby shower June 4th for me at church. It's getting hard for me to sit up, straight sometimes, without being able to lean back on anything. It's just sometimes, I think, just how he's positioned. Okay, I'm going to do a belly shot and a measurement because I'm almost at 14 minutes. Oh, I've gotten a lot bigger. A whole lot bigger. And that, they said that could be it too. Just because this is the time that the baby is growing the most. That it could just be, all the stretching causing the irritability in my uterus. On the front. And the other side. And he's getting big. Let me do a measurement really quick. Let's see. And it's 39.5, which is I think it's what it was in my last video. I think it was. It was close anyway. So that's it for my 28-week video update. And if anything new happens, I'll make another video, but if not, then I will see you guys at 29 weeks. Hope you all have a good weekend and the rest of next week, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.